All right, there we go.
All right. Cool. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Significant Strike podcast. We're going to do things a little bit backwards this week because we have a very special guest with us. With me, as always, is Val, the Dr. Fauci of MMA prognostication. But we have tonight Brent Primus with us, former Bellator 155 champ, and I can't remember all the accolades, national championships you have in BJJ and whatever. Nice to have you on the show, Brent.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
One accolade is having one of two Gogo Plata submissions, like in a major MMA organization.
Hell yeah!
That's probably for me the best thing that I've seen you do in the cage.
Sweet, man, appreciate that.
Yeah, we talked about that. We normally don't do Bellator shows, but we did one for the last card, and that was one of the things we talked about. We were both very excited about that because it's not something you normally see.
Yeah. If you train with me and you know me on the gym, whatever, it's I catch people in omoplatas, go platas, go clinches, all this stuff. Like all the time. It's one of my specialties, and got a bunch of sweeps off of that, and spider webs off of it for sure.
I mean, with rubber guard, people always talk about Tony when it comes to rubber guard, and like Tony could be because of the rubber guard. But I mean, and I don't want to be, I'm not out here trying to flatter you, but I just think you probably have the best rubber guard that I've seen, at least in MMA. Maybe not in all of grappling, but in MMA.
Hell yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, man, it's like I catch high level black belts and all that stuff and twist them up, and I definitely I like that game for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to say it was really on display in the last fight, and I talked to you about it, Brent, and we won't go too much into it because, like I told you, it was a close fight. But I really thought, even from the back, you were more offensive. You fight, but no, it was close, so we're not going to over milk.
There's the internet.
Yeah, for sure, it sucked, man. I felt like he was fighting to survive. He was just defending, most of the time, and I didn't feel like he was trying to pass my guard, advanced position. I didn't feel like he was trying to hurt me in any way. His punches were like so soft, and it was only when he's about to stand him up, and it was like a weird fight, but man, I know it didn't look like it, but I was like twice. I was like inches off from a couple of submissions, and just a matter of inches and just angles, but yeah, man, I tried to get that fight back. I was wanting a rematch. I asked him multiple times. I told him I'd fight him in Russia, and he declined that. Doesn't want a rematch, but I actually signed a humongous fight contract today.
Ooh.
I'm not exactly supposed to say who.
I gotcha.
But it's definitely a top 10 and on the lower end of that too. So I'm
excited. Okay.
It's going to be a really good fight.
That's great. Well, first of all, I was going to say, yeah, you said about the omoplatas, gogo platas. It was when it was on the ground, it was just him laying in your guard, and you just every like so often minute or two you had an omoplata attempt, and I was like, oh, it's close, and then it was a frustrating one because of that. But honestly, I mean, people know you as a jiu-jitsu guy, and that's like more your main thing. But I thought you outstruck him, especially in that first round. There was one nice elbow up in the clinch, especially that was probably the biggest strike of the whole fight.
Yeah.
I was just this guy. I mean, I didn't know that much about him. I know he was in PFL, but he's one of these Dagestani combat sambo guys. I thought he would have a little more in the striking, but I thought you outstruck him pretty soundly.
Yeah, man, and one of the things I've been telling Bellator is I want to stay active. I want like 3 fights a year, and so man, I thank my management company, Iridium Sports Agency, and Bellator for getting me a fight so soon. But I just felt like, man, that third round, my coach was like, man, just go out there and throw your hands and just bang. I was like, all right, cool. And I went out there and I threw a stupid head kick and just slipped, and my feet were like up in the air in a second. But like one of the things I just kind of forgot about was how slippery the canvas is kind of in the Bellator cage. And I just need to fight more, just be in that cage more and be more active and but yeah, I'm killing myself. It's been hard to sleep after that fight. Like, there's so many things I wish I would have done differently, and I was wanting that rematch so bad. And I was there's so many things that I feel like if I fight him again, I'm gonna knock him out. And hopefully someday we'll get that rematch if he's doing good and I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Then I don't see why not.
Well,
Yeah.
that's one of the things I was telling Val is you're not necessarily known as a striker, but you do have powerful punches, and like you said, his punches felt really soft. You have an iron chin as well. You've been hit hard by some guys that can really throw some punches, and you
Like
seem
Michael
to walk
Chandler.
through. Yeah, you seem to walk through them pretty well.
Yeah, man, I feel like that's what I'm saying. I feel like I could have just bit down my mouthpiece and went in there and knocked him out, and that's why I was wanting this rematch, man. And I think that I've only shown like a little showcase of my stand up skills in the Bellator cage, and I think my next fight, man, it's gonna be a lot different. I'm gonna be a lot more aggressive. I'm gonna kind of go back to my roots a little bit. Like when I was an amateur, I was knocking everybody out. I had knockouts in under 20 seconds, and I was going out there just, just a lot of fury and aggression in me, And I just need to be more aggressive. And I think this next fight, I'm fighting an awesome opponent that brings it too. So it's going to be an exciting fight. Like I said, it's hard to fight somebody that doesn't want to fight you back. Like
Yeah.
he was just in my guard, like holding on, and I just feel like it's more of an exciting fight for the fans when he's trying to throw and knock me out and throwing punches.
Yeah.
But I actually like it when people do that because it gives a lot of openings and stuff. So it sucks fighting somebody that doesn't want to hurt you or it's not trying to. So, but my next opponent, man, is gonna bring it, and we're gonna throw down. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, I know Val has a bunch of topics he wants to get into you with, but one of the things we're going to ask is where would you want to go next fight-wise? And I'm glad you didn't have to wait and you already got it signed, man. Good for you. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, man, it's coming up soon too. So I'm back into a fight camp, and right after that fight, I went and partied in Vegas for a few days. But other than that, I was in the gym. I'm keeping my weight down. I'm eating healthy. I'm ready. Like I was ready to fight that next weekend. I was ready. Like I was so pumped up after that fight, but I'm just glad, man. Like I said, I'm fighting soon, so I'm in a fight camp right now, and this is a bigger name, a better fight for sure.
That's great. I mean, fight next week, you'd be like Khamzat Chimaev. But yeah, so sorry. Off of all that, I know you were upset a little bit before because they said you'd get a ranked opponent and you didn't get one. Now that you have one coming up, I'm glad because I was going to ask, how's your situation? Like, what are you feeling towards them? But that's great that they've got you one.
Yeah. I was a little bit bummed, that I signed a big 6-fight contract with them, which they gave me an awesome contract, and I can't, Bellator, thank you for that. But I was also told that I was going to fight a top 10 guy, and I kept on getting thrown all these guys that I have no idea. I've never heard of them before, and I was Googling their name, and I was like, why the hell am I doing this, man? I should be fighting a top-ranked guy, and I got it now, man. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a barn burn. It's going to be the fight of the night, I feel, for sure.
That's awesome. So moving on a little bit from that, but still somewhat on the topic, one thing I wanted to talk about was, and it's very involved in your game, especially because you end up on the bottom a lot. That's your game. You're a jiu-jitsu guy. So the new unified rules, the new unified rules are scored much differently. Control time doesn't matter as much in him. So I felt like this in your fight with him laying on top was relevant, that control time didn't matter. Effective grappling and effective striking do matter. As far as on the ground, there wasn't much effective striking. Setting up submissions, the omoplata, I felt was effective grappling, and that's why I scored those for you. But we see this in a lot of fights, and I just want to know, or wondering, like, I don't know how much you watch other organizations. Like we watch, every UFC fight night, every Bellator numbered event, every PFL event.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you watch these other organizations.
Yeah, man, and like on that topic, like they say if you take somebody to the ground, you shouldn't get points unless you're causing damage or doing something or advancing position, and he was not doing that, And after that fight, to this day I get so many people messaging me saying I got robbed, I should have won. They had me winning in the scorecards, and the commentators and guys that he's trained with and guys from Bellator were saying the same thing. Like, you should have won that fight. He did not do anything, And then I was also talking to like Josh Thompson and I think John McCarthy, a couple of guys, and they're like, there has to be something done. We should do like a fighters union, something.
Oh, yeah.
Where old UFC fighters or old Bellator fighters or old guys that you've been fighting for a long time and know the sport, they should be judging, not these old boxing judges and stuff like that. Like that don't know the game. And I don't really think people understand the skill set and the technique it takes to have somebody on top of you trying to throw bombs on you and them in defense the whole time and not receiving any damage, and
yeah.
I think that by far, man, like Forrest Griffin and I don't know, there should be so many fighters that I feel like that are retired that would do a way, way, way better job at judging. And just the last UFC, there was Bobby Green and
Rafael Fiziev,
yeah, his opponent, and like that's another thing. Like, what the hell was that judge thinking, man? Like, all rounds, especially that last round, I think that that something should be done, man. It sucks for all these fighters training their butt off and putting their life on the line, and then it kind of gets screwed by some judge that doesn't really know the sport. So I feel like there should be something done for sure.
Yeah, and this is something we talk about a lot. I mean, we can't every other week there's something wrong. Recently, Macy Barber versus Miranda Maverick. We had. I mean, I don't know how much you actually even know about the podcast. We you give out picks and stuff. We had a pick on Miranda Maverick, and we felt she was so raw. I mean, she clearly she outstruck the other girl by like triple in the first round and double in the second round. There was barely any grappling, and she still lost the fight 29-28 split decision. Yeah. It happens every other week. Not only is it their effort, but it's their money. I mean, especially for these younger guys and younger girls, they're just off like an amateur career, not making much on the regional scene. They get into the UFC or Bellator or wherever, and then they're missing out on their win bonus, and it's just messed up.
It's heartbreaking. It really is, man. Like, I don't think that these dumb judges really know what they're doing. They're literally ex-boxing judges, and they don't know nothing about jiu-jitsu or wrestling or all that stuff, And so, and like you said, man, it sucks for those people that have that win bonus on the line, or just if you win this fight, you're gonna have a title shot next fight.
Oh yeah,
robbed from just some poorly judged guys, So, like I said, man, like Randy Couture, just all these ex-fighters that are retired, they should be judging us. They know what it takes. They know, all the whole sport. And so it's dumb that we have these judges that don't know anything about the whole sport, and they're judging off of people's lives and careers, So yeah. It sucks.
Yeah, I always wonder what Sal Diamato's still doing there. He was judging boxing like back when Evander Holyfield was fighting, and he was like 45 then. Yeah. He doesn't know anything about MMA. What's he doing in there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, like I said, they need to have ex-fighters in there for sure as judges, and something should be done about that, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. Ex-fighters and even ex-coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so. A little bit back, talking about just control time, not scoring anymore. Does that make you want to change how you fight maybe? Because off the bottom, you see a lot of guys throwing those elbows, throwing those slashing elbows at their opponents up. And you're jiu-jitsu guys, you're trying to submit someone when you're off your back. Do you think about changing your approach because you see the decisions going these ways to try to do more damage just off your back? I mean, there was one fight, Ketlin Vieira versus Yana Kunitskaya, where Vieira had 10 minutes of control time, but she didn't throw any strikes. Yana kept throwing those up elbows, and she got the decision. So I wonder if you, or just guys in general, how much you think about changing the way you fight because of these new unified rules.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I wish I could have done that fight over, but at the same time, I felt like he was not hurting me, not in like doing anything, and I felt like he was. I almost had a couple of submissions, and man, I'm telling you, I was this close a couple of times, and it might not look like it, but man, I'm still killing myself about it. But yeah, I feel like I should have used my submissions to stand up and things like that. I just got in this tunnel vision, where I feel like I wasn't getting punched or he was just defending, and I was, man, I'm gonna catch him. I'm gonna catch him, and yeah, I feel like. If they're on top of you and they're not doing anything, then I feel like, man, they shouldn't be getting points or whatever. Just holding on and hugging somebody, But yeah, man, there's always, I feel like I'm gonna give myself a couple minutes or whatever, or a minute around, and then if my submission game is working, then boom, I'm gonna use my submission to stand up and stuff like that. But yeah, for sure.
For sure. All right, so moving off a little bit of that, I wanted to talk about. Well, actually, first I wanted to ask. So you and Chael Sonnen are kind of at the same gym, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you know how? I just wanted to ask because I've always liked Chael.
He's the man.
You know, everyone likes Chael,
He's the
but just what is he like? Is he that crazy, saying crazy stuff guy, or is that entirely persona? How much of it? How normal? I mean, I've seen him be a nice guy, but
yeah, he's the nicest guy ever. He really is. When I first met him, he was like overly nice and just really soft spoken, and like I was like, dang man, that's crazy, you know. But he's funny as hell all the time, man, and he says some funny crap. And I remember one of the first times I met him, I had my gi on, and he came and sat by me, and he's like, what did he say, man? He's like, what do you got that robe on for, you fucking pussy, or something like that? And I looked at him and I was like, what the hell? And he's like, then he starts talking about something or whatever. But Chael's, dude, he's the man, and he honestly is one of the nicest guys you will ever meet, you know. And he's super smart. You can tell by talking to him, he's really smart, and how he does everything. I feel like it's all planned, and he's just a good talker, and he's the man, dude. He's hilarious. I love Chael.
Definitely.
It's funny. Well, it's funny because he's like, if you look at it in wrestling terms, Chael's always been the heel. You know what I mean? The bad guy or whatever. But Val and I talked to tons and tons of people about Chael, and everybody fucking loves that guy, dude. They think he's the best.
He is,
I mean,
he is.
I mean, since when he was fighting, he was more the heel. Now everyone loves him. Everyone says the undefeated thing, never lost a round, all that. So he was a heel when he was fighting, but now he's super loved by MMA fans.
Yeah, I feel like if you actually know him, dude, it's hard not to like the guy. He's he's just a big, nice cuddle bear, man. When you first meet him, you know, in person, for sure.
We've seen more of that over the years in public as he does his show and stuff. We still see him say funny stuff at times. We see him he got being more serious at times, and you can tell that comes through. That's why I wanted to ask. Yeah. But also off of that, I mean, you did Submission Underground twice. Was that? I mean, you could have done any grappling thing, I assume. Did Chael like talk you into doing Submission Underground because it's like his thing?
The first one I kind of asked them to do with Jake Shield. I wanted to do it really bad, and they gave me I think I was supposed to go against a couple UFC guys at first, and then I think Dana White or the UFC didn't want any of their guys going against any Bellator guys.
Oh yeah.
And so they put a halt to that, which I was like, damn man, that kind of sucks. And then he offered me Jake Shields. Like, hell yeah, dude, that's cool. Jake Shields, I've been watching that guy forever, you know, and he's got awesome grappling. So I went against him, and then the second match with Craig Jones, I was training for a Bellator fight, and I trained up to like 10 days out of the fight, and it got canceled. I can't remember if that was because of COVID or something happened where it got canceled. And I trained my butt off. Like, man, I lost a bunch of weight. I was like 170, 172. And then Chael was like, hey man, do you want to do this underground match against Craig Jones? It's coming up in like 10 days. And I was like, shit, man, I'm in such good shape right now. Let's do it. But I knew that he was like way bigger than me.
Oh yeah.
And by like 50, 60 pounds or whatever. But I was like, man, I've just trained, might as well do it. And I went in there and had fun, but I definitely got injured. You know, I popped my collarbone out of the socket, and I cracked my first top two ribs, and it put me out for a while. But it was fun, you know. And Chael's events are awesome, man. He knows how to throw them. They're really organized well, and I'll compete in the SUG anytime for sure.
If you could go to Submission Underground and compete with one person, anyone like Demian Maia, Jacare Souza, Charles Oliveira, just anyone, past, present, who would it be? Who would you compete with there?
Honestly, like, I know it's impossible, but I would love to go against Khabib. I just want to see how that feels, like what it feels like, you know. And I would love to go against him. And I feel like with his head down and like boom, I feel like I can catch him. But I I know it's Khabib. He's the man, you know,
Yeah.
and I feel like Dustin Poirier was like close to that guillotine. It looked like he was sunk in for a little bit, and with a little bit of adjustments, I feel, you know, maybe he could have gotten that if he was a little bit more experienced with guillotines or whatever. But Khabib for sure. I always like to test myself. I like to go against the best guys, and I think he's my weight class. Although I just saw him in California, and he looks thick and big as hell. I was like,
Yeah.
that's Khabib. Holy shit. But yeah, Khabib for sure.
I mean, you're more of an average size lightweight, and Khabib was massive even then. And I've seen pictures and stuff of him. He's he's been eating them burgers, all that stuff. And as for Dustin, you're right about that, because he even said himself, if he switched it to an anaconda, he feels like he could have gotten the finish.
Yeah,
and that would have been insane.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I think that it was tight, and I think it was just a little bit more adjustments or a couple little different angles, or he switched it. You know, yeah, it was deep. You know, and I bet you he's kicking himself in the butt a lot for that. You know,
yeah,
rewinding in his head and stuff. But
although I guess it all worked out, because now he's had 2, huge $1 million paydays.
For sure, everything happens for the best, I guess.
Yeah,
especially for him. You know, yeah, good for him.
Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, Dustin's one of my favorite fighters ever.
Yeah, he's the man, dude. He's awesome.
I always wanted to see you back in the day. Well, not back in the day, but it's probably like 6 years ago or something now. But I always thought you and Marcin Held would have been a great fight, because you were the dominant BJJ guys at that time, at that weight class. He was super into the leg lock, but he seemed to make it work really well. And that's still a very competitive division, but I think back around that time, it was great, and I always wanted to see you two go at it.
Yeah, that would have been a great fight. He actually fought Dave Jansen, one of my number one training partners, like 6 years ago or whatever it was, a long time ago. And Dave beat him, and I was kind of, when I signed to Bellator, I was kind of thinking that fight was going to happen, and then he left the organization kind of before I got there, right when I did. I can't remember which one, but yeah, that would have been a great fight, man. I like his style. I like his how he can make grappling and jiu-jitsu work in MMA, and his leg locks are awesome, and seems like a nice guy. So yeah, that'd been cool, and yeah, I've always liked the guy.
So for a while, you were pushing for the Chandler trilogy, which it makes sense, a trilogy. But then he went to the UFC, got a title shot, and got knocked out by Charles Oliveira. That, like, having fought him, went 1-1 with him. That must have been. I mean, I assume you watched the fight. That must have been. What were you thinking when you saw that fight? When you saw him almost knock out Oliveira in the first round, almost get choked out in the first round, and then Oliveira knock him out like 10 seconds into the second round.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I don't like Chandler. I think he's such a poor sport, little sissy, just makes some excuses, and I just don't like him. And at the fight, I was like, man, it's probably better for me if he wins, But at the same time, Charles Oliveira is a better person in the cage and out of the cage. I think he's just a better person, And so I was happy about that. I was like, yeah, at least a better man won, But that's a rematch that I really wish I could have gotten. In our second fight in Hawaii, I got a concussion like a few weeks before that fight, like pretty bad, and I had to sit out for a while. And I was spinning. I had a bad concussion. I got headbutted, and then I don't know if you can really tell, but like in the first round of me and Chandler, we headbutted too, in like the exact same spot. And I went to a knee, and then I came back up, and I was literally on cloud 9 after that. I don't remember anything until like the beginning of the 5th or the very late into the 4th. Everything was like a cloud. I remember like. It was just so weird. And I remember I took his back. I dropped him in the second round, I think, and I took his back. And I didn't put my body lock on him like I usually do. There's so many things I just did not do. And I was like literally on the cloud 9. Like I remember trying to like think, and I usually set things up like, boom, I set things up or whatever, and think like a couple steps ahead. And I just could not think. And it was just so weird, man. The human mind is nuts when it gets hit. And so I was on that rematch so damn bad. And, man, yeah, he went to the old UFC, but you never know, man. We might be like 45 and bare knuckles might pay us a million. We might go in there and throw down. You never know.
That'd be sick.
Crazy, So, but we'll see.
Actually, I mean, the way bare knuckle FC is these days, that might be possible. I mean, they just signed Chad Mendez.
Yeah.
Thiago Alves is the champion there now. A bunch of old UFC guys are in there and doing well. Especially, yeah, that's possible. That would be cool.
I wanted to kind of ask you about that because we mentioned Chandler going to the UFC, and I know you said earlier that you just signed a new contract with Bellator and you're very happy for it, and we're happy for you because we want the fighters to get paid more. We think you deserve more, but there has been a lot of guys from that weight division go to UFC, like Will Brooks, Chandler, Marcin Held went there. Yeah,
Eddie Alvarez, yeah,
Eddie Alvarez. He was at 155 then. He went there. I was wondering if you thought, like we always say, Pitbull will never go because he's the, you know what I mean? He's like the Hulk Hogan of Bellator. Yeah, he'll never go. But I'm assuming, no, you're not thinking about it because, like you said, Bellator treated you well. But your weight class has not a lot of guys in Bellator make it up to UFC, but the weight class you're in seems to produce a lot of them to go.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing free agency. I told my manager I was going to and just test the waters and you know, ONE FC and UFC and all those. But I kind of I was ranked number 1 when I was telling them that, and I also you know, they have a clause in their contract where they can hold you, bench you for like 18 months while other organizations bid on you. And I was like, man, I'm just getting too old as it is, and I don't want to like be sitting out for 18 months. And then they gave me a good contract, and so I was like, man, let's just do this. And as long as I'm more active and can get, you know, 2-3 fights a year, then let's do this, man. And like I said, they offered me an awesome contract, which you know, thank you, Bellator. And here I am. I got a couple fights, and hopefully after this fight, man, I'm looking to knock this dude out, and I would love one more by the end of the year, but if not, then early next year for sure.
Yeah, that I didn't know that about that 18-month clause thing. I mean, that we talk a lot about fighters getting screwed over more by the UFC because they have all the money and all the control, but it just sucks. I mean, that's why I think there needs to be a fighters union. I know there's the whole independent contractors thing, but that's the only way I think some of these guys will get paid what they're worth, really, especially the lower level fighters who just get like $12K to show. And when if they get an injury, they can't live off that for like a year or whatever, you know? So I think the fighters unions needed to get rid of manipulative clauses like that. But that's just a tangent.
No, I 100% agree, man. I think there should be a fighters union, and so they can change just a few things about it for sure. Judges and the money. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Val, I thought you had some other stuff you wanted to cover. We don't want to keep them forever.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. One thing is, so you were using calf kicks. What is it? 4 or 5 years ago, you were using calf kicks. I mean, you obviously got Michael Chandler's leg badly with them calf kicks. And I'm guessing you got that from like affiliation with ATC Portland, maybe not, because
that was really I trained at American Top Team Portland, and I also trained at Team Oyama in like Orange County.
Yeah.
And Coach Oyama is, man, he's the man. His stand up and his just like MMA. He's just so smart, man, and he studies all my opponents, and he studied Michael Chandler, and I had like a 3-month fight camp for that one in New York City, and Coach Oyama watched Chandler all of his fights, and he's like, man, he's so heavy on that front leg because he just likes to throw bombs with that right hand, but all of his weight is on that front leg. If we can chop the living crap out of that leg, and you know, also the low kick, because it's hard to the calf kick, it's hard to check, a lot harder to check than, you know, the thigh, and then also to blast Michael Chandler with my switch kick with his right arm, just blast it, because, you know, it's gonna be hard, and if we're just blasting it the whole time, and man, that game plan, like I told a bunch of other people, it worked way too well, you know. Yeah. People did not know what happened, and in the cage, man, I blasted him a couple times. I heard my coach say, it's injured. His front leg's injured, and I thought it was broken, you know, and so I was like, okay. Yeah. So I started kicking the living crap out of it because I thought it was broken, and so did Michael Chandler, that little lying little turd. Like after the fight or whatever, they called it, and Scott Coker's walking into the cage, and he's like, "What's wrong, Mike? What's wrong? What happened, Mike?" And Michael was leaning against the cage. He's like, it's broken. I broke it, or he broke it. It's broken. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, damn, that kick worked like crazy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And but like, man, it's such a brutal kick. I have gotten a lot of my training partners with it, where they switch in stance, they can't stand on it, and they're like, Brent, man, you can't kick me there anymore. And I've had 2 of my training partners where I blast them with shin pads on, and the same thing happens. Their whole leg goes numb, and they're freaking out, and they go on the ground. Like, man, there's a nerve that like starts right behind the knee, and
Perineal
goes right down that calf, you know. And if you can ding that thing right, even if you don't get the nerve, like it's a very, very painful kick, man. They should, without shin guards on, just 2 or 3 kicks, that crap hurts. And actually, like when I went against Tim Wild or whatever in I think it was in England, I blasted him a couple times with that, and then he jumped on top of me, and I got the go plata. But Bellator told me that those calf kicks injured me. He had to bail out of a couple fights, or had to bail out of a fight because it injured his leg. And so I was like, man, I wonder if it either broke his leg or if it just caused a little bit of nerve damage. But he tried to just like plant it and tried to like eat it, you know, and that's
worse.
That's worse, you know. And so it just, sometimes you don't even know, you can't even tell, but man, in there you can tell by how they look, how they act, how they're moving, and how they're switching their stance. And like that calf kick is brutal, man. It really is.
Yeah, and now it's entered the meta like in a huge way. A lot of people are using it, especially people from ATT, because Dustin Poirier started using it. Pedro Munoz, we just saw fight. I mean, did you watch the last UFC event, Gone versus Lewis?
No, I did not.
Okay, well, it was Jose Aldo in the co-main against Pedro Munoz, and there were so many fights where people were like, it's impossible to check. You can't check it. But I've seen the Jose Aldo video where he explains exactly how you check it, or how you can just turn your knee into a hinge, lift it up so it glances off it. Yeah. And Jose took his game plan out totally, because Pedro Munoz is all about that calf kick.
Yeah, for sure.
And people were like reacting to that, like, whoa, he checked the calf kick. And I was like, I knew he was going to check that calf kick. Yeah. But we all, obviously it's so prominent. I mean, Connor was the biggest one, but the perineal nerve thing that you got on Chandler, that happened with Sean O'Malley, Jimmy Crute. It's such a big thing now, and everyone's going to start trying to use it, and then everyone's going to start trying to figure out how to counter it. And
yeah,
you just
so
got to have
always a counter to a counter, you know.
Yeah.
Like, if they're going to counter that, I feel like you can go underneath and blast the other leg, or you know, look down, kick him in the head, you know. But
Namajunas.
Yeah, for sure. But it's definitely I think I even trained Ed Herman. He got blasted with that calf kick, you know, in the last fight too. And I just rewound and watched that, and he ate a lot of those low kicks, man. They're hard to check, but I feel like if you set them up good, you set them up with strikes, it's really, really hard to check, you know, for sure.
I love Ed Herman, and we were both high on him for that fight, figuring if he made it out of the first round, he had a really good chance, but his leg did get pounded big time.
So that fight was my birthday, so I was out partying. I missed that fight and just came back for like the Vicente Luque fight. I need to rewatch that one back, but he's another teammate of yours, right?
Yeah,
in Portland.
I grapple with him. I don't like spar with him because he's a little bit too big, but we grapple for sure.
I think they got him listed on there as a coach as well. Does he do some coaching there also?
Yeah, for sure. Ed's got such awesome clinch game and wall work and just like old dirty boxing and wrestling. You know, he's been around for so long, and he's got some awesome classes for sure. He's really knowledgeable and experienced, and just doing like 10 minutes of his class, like, okay, yeah, he's definitely experienced for sure.
I think there's a stat or whatever that he's been in the UFC longer than anyone continuously. Some people have been in there, left, came back, but he's been in there consistently since like 2005. That's insane.
Yeah, he's durable as hell, man. Even watching him spar to this day, like, you're damn, man. He's a gritty dude for sure.
And yeah, he's four. I can't imagine fighting at 4. I mean, I'm not a MMA fighter, pro fighter or anything, but I couldn't imagine taking that much head damage and stuff at age 40.
Yeah. I told myself I'm gonna go to 41, you know, and then we're gonna see how it goes. But like right now, I feel great, man. I feel like I'm stronger than I ever have. I feel like my IQ is better. I still feel fast, and I feel like I can take a sledgehammer to the head still. So I feel like I got some years in me. The biggest thing, I just need to be active, feel comfortable in that cage. If I'm comfortable, it feels like my home. I feel like I can really let loose and everything. So I feel like this next fight, I'm going to be more comfortable. I'm going to be more aware of just my surroundings, the canvas, everything. And I'm going to let loose for sure.
That's awesome.
All right, Val, if you got a couple more questions, but we've had him like 40 minutes, and I think he's been more than generous with his time. He's probably got stuff to do. So,
oh yeah, you definitely
like 7:30, but yeah, we're good.
I'm just okay. One last thing off of that is the different. I mean, because you've obviously you fought when you were a rowdy teenager and stuff, but you haven't had that many pro fights, and you look at the difference between fight age and age. Like Jose Aldo, his prime ended when he was like 28 because he fought so much. You haven't fought as much because various reasons. So yeah, that's what I wanted to ask for about that, is because I believe you could be able to go longer, and it makes sense that you would be still feeling strong and still have a good chin at this age, whereas some guys, they lose their chin at age 32, 31. So that's good to hear. It's good to hear.
Yeah, I feel like I can take some cracking still, man, and I'm good to go. So, and as long as my body feels good, my brain feels good, I feel like I can go out there and blast these people, and I feel like I literally have not shown my full potential. And so, man, hopefully this next fight, man, I'm gonna fucking let my hands fly, let my kicks fly. I'm gonna blast. I'm gonna move. I'm just more pumped for this next fight than I have been, and this guy likes to bring the fight too, so it's gonna be action packed, and I can't wait.
When are we gonna get the official announcement about this?
Gosh damn! I signed the contract late last night.
Oh,
and like 11 or 12 last night at midnight, and I'm supposed to wait for them. I was wanting to like say something or a little sneak preview or something like that or whatever, but hopefully soon, man. I'm supposed to wait for them, so I'm kind of waiting for Bellator to announce it, but it's not that far away, so it should be soon.
That's awesome. I'm gonna be looking through the rankings, trying to figure out who it is after this. I'm definitely gonna try to figure it out.
Oh yeah.
Have those rankings immediately when we're done with you and start trying to figure it out.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks so much for the time. This is cool. I mean, we're pretty young, but I just like doing this stuff, like talking fights, like breaking down fights, and we're gonna go break down a fight coming up after this. But thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Like I said, like after this next fight, or when I get that title shot here in the next 2 fights, or hoping after I knock this guy out, I'm gonna call out, maybe get a title shot. But if not, then it's soon. So, but anytime you guys want to do it again, man, let's do it for sure.
That'd be awesome. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, Brent. Yeah, just before I say goodbye, I told Val that and I know you don't remember me because I used to talk to you back when the Bellator PR guy would sit you in a room and you do 20 15-minute phone calls in a row on your press days and shit.
Yeah.
But I told Val, I was like, he's a really cool dude, and I still talk to him here and there on Facebook. I'm pretty sure he'll come on the show. I'm going to give it a shot. So I really appreciate it, man. You've always been good to me, and we love watching you fight.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And like I said, let's do it again. Let's do it again soon. So let's do it.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks
awesome. Brent. Yeah, we're definitely going to try to take you up on that. All right. Yeah. You have a good one. Thanks so much.
Guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Sweet. I love him calling Michael Chandler a whiny bitch.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of hate Chandler too for some, not hate, but like when he called Charles Oliveira a quitter, I was like, you tapped the strikes to Will Brooks. So I agree with him.
Yeah, all the guys from that division I've talked to in Bellator, none of them had a nice thing to say about Chandler. They all think he's an asshole.
He was on the weigh-in show for this for UFC 265, and he's like a nice guy. Then they had the video call with Justin Gaethje, and he was a nice guy. And then right afterwards, he said something on Twitter that I was like, you were just like being fake nice to try to make Gaethje look bad, make yourself look like a nice guy. I mean, I don't know him, but he's one of those guys that he seems less than genuine when he's talking and stuff.
Hey, I was thinking, do you want to end this video and then we can hop over in Discord and do the fight regular? That way Dave and everyone doesn't have to wait on us while we go through the other stuff. We can end this video and then we'll hop in Discord and do the fight.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. We can do that. I had one thing left to say about Chandler, but I'll do that in Discord.
All right.
Hey, Dave.
Hello.
Dave, thank you so much for helping.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No worries. Do you want to
That was
end
awesome.
with any shout outs or any?
No, because this will be one continuous episode. We'll put this together with the next part where we break down the fights in Discord.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it, Dave, because
put this up as a video on your channel.
Oh yeah. We'll put this part up as a video, and then it also as a podcast altogether.
Yeah. When we record the podcast, Val records locally, so if my internet craps out, I can still line it up. But it would have sucked having a big guest and all those gaps where my shit went out. So we appreciate it, Dave, big time.
Yeah, I mean, there was only like 2 times you went out, but it was good that we had this. Yes, I mean, we can upload this right away, and I'll tweet that out. I mean, if you want to, you can start. I probably take a while, but you can start the upload before we start recording over there if you want.
Well, Dave's got to process it and send it to me,
yeah.
and then I got to do it, so it'll be a little bit.
Okay, yeah, my bad.
My favorite moment was where Brent was claiming that his IQ has increased.
It's fight IQ, Dave. Favorite. It's different than IQ.
That was my favorite.
It's just your knowledge of what to do in certain situations, and fight IQ does increase over time because it's not just like regular IQ.
Okay. That's why I was glad Dave volunteered to stay in backstage, because he would have been like, so you're saying you got smarter the more you got punched.
That's why I had to stay backstage. All right.
Man, time flies. I was nervous, but thanks, Dave.